Hello everyone, it's Sean from TaekwondoSean.com, and today we're talking recoil. Check it out. Alright, so first of all, what is recoil? Well, you can imagine it like this. You go out with your friends, and then you're finished at the mall, and then you gotta go home. That's the recoil, going home. So the exciting part is going to the mall, the kick, getting ready for it, being strong, hitting the pad, breaking the board. But then the not so exciting part, but it's still part of the technique, still part of going out, is coming home. So we gotta make sure that after your kick, after your sparring attack, after whatever, you have to recoil properly so that, number one, we don't get hurt. Number two, we don't get grabbed in a self-defense situation. Number three, it just looks way better. All right, now let's look at some of the recoils from some of the kicks in Taekwondo. All right, so first one is gonna be front kick up Chagi. When you guys do your front kick, you wanna make sure your knee stays relatively the same height. So I kick and I recoil, the knee stays relatively the same height. If you're doing like pumse competition and your front kick is straight up like this, your knee is almost definitely not gonna maintain that same height before and after the kick. So that's acceptable. But if you're only kicking like chest height, face height, and then your knee drops like a lot after you do that kick, then it looks a little sloppy. So you wanna make sure, number one, either you kick lower, or number two, my favorite, you work extra hard, challenge yourself, train every single day until your knee, your leg can be held at that same high point. That'd be the best, all right? Don't be lazy. All right, second kick, front push kick. Now, a lot of people actually forget that front push kick has a recoil because you're imagining you're breaking down a door. And once you break down the door, usually you don't recoil and enter a sparring stance. You just barge into the room like this. So a lot of students, what they'll do, a lot of practitioners, they'll kick and step forward like this. Now, putting your weight into the kick is not a bad thing. That's awesome. But you gotta make sure after you do your front push kick, you bend your knee back afterwards, all right? You gotta come home. You gotta make sure you clean up that kick, that technique. Another one is front turning kick. Now, it's exactly like front kick, except turned sideways. Now, you wanna keep the knee the same height. So if you're trying to kick face height, from here, you gotta keep that knee the same height before and after you're done. Otherwise, again, the kick starts to look sloppy, or it starts to show that you have some muscle inconsistencies, or mobility issues, or flexibility issues. And we don't want any of those, all right? So you guys either kick lower, or train hard. Train every single day. Watch all these Taekwondo Sean videos, and you guys can be really good too. So practice hard. Another good one is the crescent kick. So when you're doing your crescent kick, if you don't recoil properly, then what's gonna happen is your leg's pretty heavy, right? You got a lot of muscles in there. And so what'll happen is your body will actually follow the kick all the way down to the ground. You'll be off balance, not ready for the next kick. So when you're doing your crescent kick, it's good to keep your knee bent. So number one, it brings it closer to your center of gravity after the kick is over. And number two, you don't follow that kick over here, and then you're totally exposed to the next attack in either a sparring or a self-defense situation. And then same thing for the inside to outside crescent kick. Bend your knee, and you can bring it right back. Keeping it close to your center of gravity means quick, easy recoil and quick, easy reaction. When it's far away, it's slow. When it's close, it's fast. Next up, side kick. The snap side kick is one of the best kicks, one of the strongest kicks, and recoiling it is very important, and it cleans it right up. Make sure nobody grabs that leg after you side kick them, okay? So when you do your side kick, bang it back and put it down. Now, the best thing to do is to hold your side kick, especially in pumse style, for a split second, and then recoil. So you hold it, then bring it back. Now, when you're bringing it back, don't make the back end look like a front turning kick. A lot of the junior practitioners have a good side kick, and then bend it back, like the front turning kick, the 앞돌려차기. Yeop Chagi needs to be out and in along a straight line, okay? So from here, and back. And lastly, the last kick we'll cover today is the back turning kick. So the back turning kick is a really strong kick, really good for sparring. However, a lot of students maybe aren't doing it properly. So the chamber and the recoil both look the same. You turn, you look at your target, you can't kick what you can't see, and then you bring your knee up here like this. Your ankle, hip, and knee, all the same height, and then you extend, hit the target, bend, bring it back. The bend at the end is very important. The bend at the beginning is very important. So make sure you do this kick properly. So from here, pre-turn, All right, now a good way to practice your recoil is to actually use some kind of object, whether there's a chair, counter, spouse, brother, sister, or in my case, I'm going to use one of these towers. So I'm going to practice a side kick recoil. So I perform my side kick over the target, and then from here, bend my knee back and put it down. The main thing is don't bend it back on one side or the other. Don't bend it back like a front turning kick. Bend it straight back the way it came. So again, side kick, bring it back, put it down. Now try to do this exercise in balance and self-control and always in a controlled motion so that we're not just flailing around, throwing it out everywhere. If you can't do it controlled the entire time, you need to practice so that every time you do it, in, and down. We don't want any surprises on any black belt tests or promotion ceremonies. We want to make sure that every technique, we do it properly on command. Another good exercise for the front kick this time is our good old friend, the chair. Now you're going to be kicking at it this way, making sure the chair is facing you. And if you don't, chamber and recoil properly, you're going to kick the chair or knock it over on the way down. So, kyorgi 준비, 앞차기, so I bend my knees, kick, bend it back, put it down. Now you start far away, kick, put it back, start again, put it back, and then once you get more confident, you can get closer and closer until you're pretty much about to hit the chair, and then you stop. Making sure that you're always challenging yourself to recoil fully, bring your knee up high, keep it at the same height, because if it drops down again, you're gonna hit the chair. So it's a really great tool to practice your recoil, but also the chamber, which is just like the recoil at the beginning of the kick. All right, so some common points that we saw throughout the video. Number one, we go to the mall, we gotta come home. Do your recoil properly. Number two, we're not gonna get grabbed in a self-defense situation. Number three, it makes the technique look really clean. Number four, it's gonna help you keep balance because anything that's close to your center of gravity, you have better balance because that's where your stability is. And five, you're able to react more quickly, whether it's another kick, whether you're sparring, you need to be able to slide back right away or block or move a different direction. The main thing is, recoil is good for everything. So make sure you guys practice hard, recoil well, and we'll see you guys on the mats.